T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
As my old bus driver friend Blackie used to say, let's get her going. Let's get her going on a Tuesday. Up and at 'em, everybody. Episode number 1688 of Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show coming your way on the Game Plus Television Network. We've got royalty on the program today. Mitchell Scruffy Blair's the co-host. Rich Sutter in hour 2 from hockey's first family. Richie Sutter going to join us on this NHL trade deadline weekend. We've got so much to get to. The roadmap includes MLB, World Baseball Classic, some Briar, yes, absolutely, some NFL, basketball. So let's get right down to business as Scruffy joins me here with a quick 6 show topics, which we have a brand new partner for that, and I'll get to that in a second. We're starting Scruffy with hockey. Monday night, Matvei Michkov and Trevor Zegras scored in a shootout. Philadelphia extended their winning streak to 3 games. They beat the Leafs 3-2. The other game I was keying on, Devin Taves scored the tie-breaking goal late in the third. Martin Necas added an empty netter to go with 2 helpers. Colorado defeated LA 4-2. But the biggest news of the day, your Oilers acquiring Connor Murphy from the Chicago Blackhawks. And are you wearing an Oiler jacket right now, by the way?
I am.
Are you wearing that? You are. Okay, I knew it. The blue and old tipped me off. There's a resident Oilers expert. How do you feel about Connor Murphy as an Oiler and their Stanley Cup chances now?
Well, their Stanley Cup chances, like, we can talk about that next week once the trade deadline's over.
Okay.
Connor Murphy, like, they had Connor Murphy and they traded him to Pittsburgh in Brett Kulak. So, is this a stopgap? Yeah, probably. Was the price to pay a little steep? For me, it was. But the Edmonton Oilers need defensemen. And Connor Murphy is a guy that will hopefully stabilize things a little bit. We'll see. I still think they need another defenseman. In the trade deadline, I'd like to see them go out and get Braden Schneider from the Rangers because he comes at a nice low cost. I would rather see them get defenseman than a forward. I know there's a lot of talk out there about them making a trade for Bobby McMahon. They don't need forwards. They need defensemen. And you know what? Maybe they need another goaltender. But as a lot of people have said, I can't see Stan Bowman going out and getting a goaltender after he made the trade for Tristan Jarry, which,
well, let me
as
stop
we've
you.
seen, is apparently blown up.
Yeah. Well, let me stop you for a sec because the floor is yours. I often say I can do this show alone, but I'd rather not. I bring the guests on, and if I'm going to bring you on, I'm going to let you talk. But you said something yesterday, and I didn't want to misquote it. You said Stan Bowman has been a disaster since he became the GM of the Oilers?
Stan Bowman's been a disaster since he took over as the Oilers general manager.
He's been a disaster. Okay. Did you hear that, everybody? Let me just say, Scruffy says Stan Bowman's been a disaster since he took over as general manager of the Edmonton Oilers. Like, I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but I'm also not saying you're wrong. Would a lot of Oilers fans agree with you on that?
Roddy, let's just take a look at the Edmonton Oilers roster when Stan Bowman took over as general manager. They had just lost in Game 7 to the Florida Panthers to lose the first of 2 meetings between those 2 teams in the Stanley Cup final. That team has gotten progressively worse since that date. There's no other way to put it. Trent Frederick, 8 years? Really? Andrew Mangiapane, which I will say when that deal was made, I thought, okay, that's a nice signing, but that proved to be a disaster. Trent Frederick, 8 years? What are we doing? Like, what has Trent Frederick done since he joined the Oilers? 0.
Well, nothing.
Corey Perry, you could have kept Corey Perry, but you decided not to.
And
now,
Evander
the only
Kane.
thing that Stan Bowman can't be blamed for, and this one falls on Ken Holland, you should have signed Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway to contracts when you knew that they were going to be offer sheet.
Yeah, can I just say this? Can I say this, by the way? Because somebody was saying that the Oilers aren't going to trade for Binnington because they're still pissed off at the Blues for stealing those 2 guys, Broberg and Holloway. But what has that done for the Blues? They got worse. Do you think they regret that move?
I think what St. Louis's problem is, Rod, is I just think that they really haven't tried to get younger. And
yeah, there
are some guys on that team. I don't know if Jim Montgomery's the answer there. Like, he left Boston, signed with St. Louis very quickly, and I don't know if that was the right answer for head coach. But you're right, St. Louis hasn't been a great team either since they got those two guys, but you're not going to tell me that Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg in the Edmonton lineup would make that team a lot better than they currently are.
Right. Okay, well, this I think what people don't understand is when you get on this show or any live shows, stuff goes fast. And you dropped that yesterday with Bowman, and I was like, what? And I was thinking about it later. It's funny, Robin Winthorst writes in, he says, if Stan Bowman is a disaster, what would Scruffy call Brad Tree living in Toronto? Love Scruffy's orange-tinted glasses. That's from Robin Winthorst. So just hang on. This opening segment goes really, really fast. So we are going to get to all these other topics, which includes our poll question today. I'll let people marinate on that. Are you going to be into March Madness? That's a poll question today for EMJ Marketing. So we'll get to that. So everybody, just take a pause, Scruffy. You've said a lot in this opening segment for people to digest. And I'm excited to announce today the RP Show. Happy to welcome Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel as the official travel partner of the RP Show. Whether it's team travel, sports getaways, business trips, or bucket list vacations, Neil and the team at Uniglobe Carefree Travel deliver expert planning, seamless service, and trusted experience every step of the way. At the RP Show, we're always on the move, and now we've partnered with a travel expert who ensures we and you get there the right way. Planning your next trip? Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. That's uniglobecarefreetravel.com, or email neilc@uniglobecarefree.ca. Please join us in welcoming Neil Chark and Uniglobe Carefree Travel to the show. Scruffy, those sports trips we used to do, they want to bring him back, and I would love to have you along with it as the co-pilot. So think about where you might like to go, and don't say Seattle because you've been there. Somewhere else other than your beloved Emerald City. So welcome Neil Chark and Uniglobe Carefree Travel to the program, and we'll be right back. We got a lot to get to today. 902-518-3033. The Western Dodge text line is open as well. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edge-of-your-seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back. And we are brought to you in hour one, in part by our friends at Pump Jack's Cathedral and Pump Jack's Steakhouse. Come early and stay late at the place where your friends meet. Tell them the RP show sent you. They'll give you a good seat in the bathroom. I want to get to baseball right away, but Mitchell, couple things. Bob has written in. He says, good morning, Rod and Scruffy. Bob from Medicine Hat. Watching your show again today like I do most days. Have a great day, guys. Herm Hordell writes in from Edmonton. He's watching on Game Plus TV. Scruffy, you remember Herm Hordell, the marketing manager of the Stars to the Saskatoon Blades. He says, the best arena? The Whitney Forum, Flin Flon. Signed, Herm from Edmonton. I can't agree or disagree. I've never been. You've been there, Mitch?
Yep.
Would you say it's the greatest arena? I'm going to tell you, before we go any further, because it's the Rod Pedersen Show, the greatest arena to me, Regina Agrodome. Mic drop. But I won't say that's yours.
Are we talking like
in the world?
What's our parameters here? All time?
Where they play hockey, period. Any arena they have
would be the Montreal Forum or Maple Leaf Gardens. But the Whitney Forum is right up there. And if you're a hockey fan, you need to experience a Flin Flon Bombers game. And yeah, when I worked for the SJHL for 2 years, I had the opportunity to watch a couple of games up there and tour around that building. And it does reek of hockey history, Rod. It is something else to see, but it's nothing compared, with all apologies to the people in Flin Flon, Manitoba, because that rink is history. But Maple Leaf Gardens, the Montreal Forum, it's hard to beat that. And I'd never been to the Boston Garden or the old Chicago Stadium, but people will tell me that those rinks are right up there.
Well, there might be a little bias involved in the answer to this for anybody, including myself. Yep. I remember my dad being at the Royal Bank Cup, now the Centennial Cup in Flin Flon, calling me. He was there with Bobby Clark and Reggie Leach. He's like, this place is unbelievable. You got to come. Like, Dad, I'll take your word for it. I'm good. Anyways, and for the Regina Agrodome, as Ken Stromberg says, the penalty box attendant to the Stars, you know Kenny Stromberg, he's been there since 1967. He goes, You grew up in this place. Yes, I did grow up in this place. So for me, it's the Regina Agrodome. Okay. Like
Where would the Moose Jaw Civic Center rank on that list for you, Rod?
3,977,000. This summer, I went and took a leak on the parking lot where it is now, what's there now instead of the Moose Jaw Civic Center. That place was a house of horrors for me.
I was telling someone a story about you and Scott Dybert's dad at the first ever alumni game weekend.
Go ahead and tell it.
Favorite stories ever.
Tell it.
We had just gotten there.
Clean it up, of course. Clean it up, of course.
Yes. You and I had just gotten there because that was the alumni weekend, and the Pats and Warriors alumni were playing, followed by a regular season game between the Pats and Warriors. And the great Bryn Griffiths was there because he was going to do play-by-play of the alumni game for CHAB, the rights holder at that time in Moose Jaw. So you were setting up stuff, and we were talking away with Bryn. And this gentleman came up to talk to Bryn. And that gentleman was the father of Calgary Stampeder Scott Dybert, a Moose Jaw product. Bryn asked Rod if he had ever met Scott's dad. No, so an introduction was had, and you put out your hand.
My hand out. I'm Rod Pedersen.
And Scott Dybert's dad basically told you where to go.
He said, F you. There he goes.
Basically,
Rod Pedersen?
Yep.
F you.
And he walked down the stairs. And
that
he
was
just
the end
sat
of it.
there. And I turned around, and I was laughing so hard. And I've never really seen you speechless. But on that moment, you were speechless.
Trends Canada Clash weekend was on. Okay.
Yep.
Point 2. Blue Jays manager John Schneider says righty Max Scherzer could pitch in an exhibition game on the weekend. He threw a bullpen session in Dunedin, Florida Monday. The team has yet to formally announce Scherzer's return. The Jays dropped the 7-6 decision to Boston in preseason play Monday afternoon. World Baseball Classic. 58% of respondents to our poll yesterday said they won't be into it, but I think we could convince them, Scruffy, and I think as it gets closer, which it begins tomorrow, I think they will. 20 countries are set to compete in the 2026 World Baseball Classic, which begins Wednesday. Those 20 rosters collectively include 78 MLB All-Stars, with 36 being named to the All-Star team last year. I was perusing Canada's roster. You probably already knew this. And I don't know who's going to win this thing. Dominican Republic looks pretty stacked. They got Vladdy, Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis. Did you see Rod Black's kid is on Team Canada?
Yep.
Tyler?
Yep.
What are your thoughts on this World Baseball Classic? 58% of our viewers say they won't be into it. I beg to differ. I think that'll change.
I think it'll change as well. I think Canada can get out of their group, but after that, I don't think they'll go any further. But this will be today later on today on Sportsnet, Team Canada is taking on the Blue Jays, and on ESPN this afternoon from Arizona, Team USA is taking on the San Francisco Giants. If you haven't seen the US's starting lineup for that game today, go take a look at it because they're stacked. Japan will be stacked. The Dominican Republic will be stacked. Venezuela and Mexico will be very good. But at the end of the day, much like it was the last time this tournament was played, it will come down to probably Japan and the U.S., and we'll see who wins. But I think that when this gets down to like the quarterfinals, you can expect to see some really top caliber baseball.
Well, and I was just because the championship final is in Miami, March 17th. I went and looked at the tickets. What do you think the cheapest to sit in the very top row of Lone Depot Park, the home of the Marlins? What do you think the cheapest ticket is to get into the final?
Oh, God.
I would say it's
$150.
I think it was $175. I mean, that's not terrible. But
not for a playoff game. Like, it's not a World Series game. It would be a lot more, but I hear you, though.
That's what it is for the World Baseball Classic. Yeah, exactly. By the way, so I want all the viewers. Don't just sit there and watch me and Mitch yak it up. I want to hear from the viewers. What do you think is the greatest arena in hockey history? Mark in Melfort writes in, he says, for hockey history, the Zoo is the best, and that is the Whitney Forum, right? That's the Zoo. That's what they call it, the Zoo. I have that right, correct? Bill from Toronto writes in, he says, the old Whitby Arena, home of the Dunnies World Champions. I'd never been to the Montreal Forum. It's a movie theater now. I've been to the movie theater where they still have seats in the old Forum. No, I had, unfortunately not. I just missed all those historic buildings when I got traveling out on the road.
I thought you went there on a Ryder road trip once to a game.
No, I wish. And my biggest regret of life, of which I don't have a lot, but one is I never went to an Expos game at Olympic Stadium. Dag nabbit, I should have gone. I didn't expect them to leave in 2004. I could never get anybody to go with me.
You have to have somebody to go with you to have a good time?
At that time, yes. I was a child.
That's fair. That's fair.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, says it's nice to hear everyone show reverence for old historic sports facilities. Let's remember that when it comes to speaking of McMahon Stadium. The problem, Jeff, is they're still playing in that dump. It's nice to talk about facilities that aren't standing anymore.
They had a fire there the other night.
Where, at McMahon Stadium?
Yeah.
What do I guess?
Right near the front entrance.
Cost $5 damage. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, the Cow Palace. He's talking about the old hockey rink in San Francisco, right? The San Francisco Cow Palace. That's
first home of the San Jose Sharks.
Right. My dad, we had an outdoor lean-to, if that's a word anymore, but a little fashion thing. He called it the Cow Palace, where we literally kept our cattle. At times we kept our cattle as an ode to the Cow Palace in San Francisco. Okay, for Scruffy's benefit, point 3 of the Quick 6 show topics. 4 teams remain unbeaten after 9 draws at the Montana's Brier in St. John's, Newfoundland. Team Canada's Brad Jacobs and Brad Gushu of Newfoundland and Labrador lead Pool A at 4-0, while Alberta's Kevin Cooey and Matt Dunstone of Manitoba lead Pool B with 3-0 records. So as I look at that, Mitch, can I ask you, it feels to me like it's the same guys every year. Do you guys not have a problem with that?
Yes and no. I think it's just the fact that, a lot of these, like, the game has changed so much now because it's not just 4 guys from the same curling club going from town to town during the winter to compete in Spiels and then, playing in a provincials to move on to the Brier. And in some provinces, that is still the case. Look at Prince Edward Island this week, who they don't have a full rink because one of their team members, his worker, wouldn't give him the week off. Like, how nice is that? But when you've got these guys like Jacobs and Gushu and Dunstone and Cooey, Mike McEwen, who basically this is a full-time job for them now. And because of that, they're expected to be where they are. You've got your Grand Slam events, you've got some of your other events in the curling tour, then you've got the Brier. So it's just sort of a way that the game has changed. And it's the same way on the women's side, too.
Yes,
you've got Enerson, you've got Homan, you've got Laws. So, yeah.
Yeah, but nobody seems to mind. College football's that way. It's always the same teams.
Yep.
And nobody really
You've
seems
got
to
some
mind.
guys in the junior ranks that are coming up, but some of those guys, they get recruited to one of these top-tier ranks. And like Tyler Tardy, who was one of the top junior players in Canada, he was the 5th for Brad Jacobs' team at the Olympics. And he's curling with somebody else. I just saw him here the other night on weekend coverage at the Brier. He's curling with some other rinks. So, like, a lot of these rinks, when they break away from the junior ranks, they end up separating and going to some of the top teams because they're being scouted, much like junior hockey players are being scouted.
So I appreciate the input, and that's what Scruffy brings on the Mondays and Tuesdays is the curling talk, and it is the Canadian Hour, so I'm here for it, but I'm also ready to move on, and I thank Herm and Edmonton for the discussion topic that I didn't even plan. What's the greatest hockey arena on the planet? He says the Whitney Forum in Flin Flon. Norm Fong, you know him, Scruffy, he writes in. Fongo's watching. He says, Rod, the old exhibition stadium in Regina holds many memories for me, but the Whitney Forum has to be seen. It's one of a kind. Fongo. Well, I don't think it's going anywhere, so maybe I'll go stop next time I'm in Canada. Why the hell not? Kirk in Toronto writes in, he's watching on Game Plus TV. He says, hey, Rod, the old Coliseum in Quebec City and the old Chicago Stadium were unbelievable. That's the sucky thing. We're not going to be – if you haven't been there, you're not going because they don't stand anymore.
Right.
Like I say, Whitney Forum's not going anywhere, and that's a good thing. Laverne in the Frontier City writes in. He says, hey, Rod, I'll be watching some of the World Baseball Classic. Also, keep up the hockey. And as far as college basketball goes, it's fun to watch the opening rounds. These kids care. Keep on doing what you're doing. Oh, well, whatever it is that we're doing, we're going to keep on doing it. So thank you, Laverne, in the Frontier City. I appreciate that. We'll come back with more. We got a whole heck of a lot to get to here. We're in the middle of the Quick Six show topics here. And we have the Junior Hockey Report on the way. We have a lot of things going on, but we are welcoming today the brand new partner, Neil Chark and Uniglobe Carefree Travel, as the Quick Six show topics sponsor. We'll be right back. 902-518-3033. The text line is open, and we'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikasi's Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
We do the Junior Hockey Report daily for the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. The Western Hockey League announced Seattle Kraken prospect and Everett Silvertips forward Julius Mettinen has been named WHL Player of the Week. Mettinen, the 20-year-old from Finland, registered 11 points and a +6 rating in 3 games as the Tips went 3-0 during a busy weekend of U.S. division competition. Meanwhile, 2026 NHL draft-eligible netminder Parker Snell of the Edmonton Oil Kings has been named WHL Goalie of the Week. The 17-year-old from St. Albert, Alberta, went 2-0 with a perfect 0.00 goals against average and a pair of shutties. From classic to loaded, pizza night starts at the Mad Greek Eatery. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. Saskatchewan pizza is the best. It's the best. I'm throwing this in here, Mitch, as a point 3B. College hoops, Jaden Bradley scored 17 points. Mateus Krivas added 13, and number 2, Arizona clinched the outright Big 12 regular season title with a 73-57 win over number 6, Iowa State. That's as much gibberish to a lot of Canadian viewers as what you were just saying about the curling. You know what I mean? Yet, as we plow towards March Madness, which begins March 17th, ironically, I'm going to ask you, that's the poll question today. Are you going to be into March Madness? What are you voting?
Always
yes
am.
Or no?
Always am.
Okay.
I was watching college basketball last night. I watched that game. I watched Duke against North Carolina State. Tomorrow night I'll watch Michigan play Iowa. March Madness, to me, the first weekend of March Madness is one of the best weekends of the year.
Oh, absolutely. And what I like about it is that it goes fast. What do you say in the curling world? Single knockout. You lose, you're done.
Yep.
There's no second chance. So it is all fun, but do you remember last year? Like, I haven't filled out a bracket for years, and it's funny because Moose filled one out a number of years ago, a Philadelphia group that watches our show. He won it. He doesn't know anything about college basketball. It just shows you how lucky you can be. But do you remember? I remember last year. I follow it casually. We do a sports show, so we're going to follow everything. All the top seeds won all through the whole tournament, basically. Yeah. It went exactly the way, and that's where I learned the term chalk. It's the way it was written up in chalk. That's the way it went. And I guess when I say the curling teams winning are the same, I guess it's the same for basketball. Has it not taken any of the steam away from the excitement?
Yes and no. You know, you're always going to get your powerhouses in there like Duke. You know, this year, like Michigan's one of the top teams in the country. They've gotten their program back together over the last couple of years, but a team like Nebraska, who's in the top 10, they haven't been there in a long time. I'd have to take a look at the top 25 rankings, but, you know, there are some teams that, you know, Arizona's usually there, but it's what makes the tournament great is that you can have an upset. You can have a team from, you know, not a top-tier conference beat a heavyweight and be a Cinderella story. Last year, that really didn't happen, and I know there are a lot of people that are wondering if the NIL deals, if that's starting to translate to college basketball the way it has to college football, because some schools simply just can't compete with others when it comes to getting top-notch talent. I guess we're going to find out maybe this year if that trend continues, but there's a lot of parity in U.S. college basketball, and we'll see what happens. I know right now one team, Miami of Ohio, they're the only undefeated team at 29-0, but they're not playing in a big conference like the Big Ten or the SEC. And some people say that they shouldn't be in the tournament if they don't win their conference championship. Well, that's a load of crap.
Carlos in Indiana writes in and says, I might watch a few games, but I'm not a basketball guy, so I won't be overly interested in it. That's my point. When we get rolling with the Quick Six show topics here, I don't want to spend a ton of time on all of them because there's a lot going on. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, the Boston Garden. And he says, is the Crush can still standing in Moose Jaw? No, it's a parking lot where if you want to go charge your Tesla, you can. There's like 12.
Isn't it where the brew house is there now?
There's a Canadian brew house there as well. Yes, absolutely. Brent in Saskatoon writes in and he says, the Barn, Saskatoon Arena. Watch the Saskatoon Blades there and Stampede Wrestling. See, that's the point is I was assuming everybody would be a little bit nostalgic about their favorite arenas, and that's me when I say the Regina Agrodome, and I was never at the Montreal Forum. And by the way, you said, did I have a tough time traveling, or why did I not want to travel alone? Just remember this. 1999 was when I started doing CFL games. I was 26 years old, and Mitch, I was right off the farm. You knew me then, so I knew you. I'd never been anywhere. If I had been asked to get on the subway in Montreal to go from downtown to Olympic Stadium, I would have ended up on Long Island. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Seriously. And I don't know about you. I mean, how confident are you with?
You were staying at, because you and I were at a couple of games together, wild card games that the Riders played at the Big O. All you had to do was from their hotel was just go down underneath and take the subway, because it took you right there.
Well, by then, that was 2005. And if you remember, do you remember that trip? That was where I met that couple from New York. And they said, Rod, why don't you come out with us? Hey, what?
Yeah, no. I thought you were waking up in a bathtub without your kidneys, my friend.
Everybody thought I was crazy. I just met this couple from New York. As it turned out, he was New York's most preeminent plastic surgeon, and his trophy wife. And when I met him in a Starbucks the morning of the game, I got him tickets to the game, and they thought for whatever reason I was the greatest. And you and a lot. Remember McCallum? McCallum was like, "What are you doing?"
Paul, I think O'Day and Zarka were in that boat too.
How so?
They were like, "What are you doing?"
Oh yeah, all of them. I was in the lobby. I put on a suit after the game to go out for dinner with this couple I just met from New York, and the guys were all in the lobby of the hotel. They're like, "What? You're doing what?" I just met this couple. They wanted to take me out for supper, and McCallum thought there might have been some fun to be had in that, and I'm like, I don't know. They just seemed to like me, and
you were the topic of conversation that night amongst a few of the riders.
Well, I survived. I'm trying to remember if somebody Googled New York's most preeminent plastic surgeon, it would come up. His wife's name was Helen Lebrecht. It was a hell of a story. It was a different life, as you know, Mitch. Back on point, Greg's watching in Calgary. He writes in and says, "Hey, Rod, I'm a yes on March Madness. I fill out a bracket every year." Wayne in BC says, "Good morning, Rod, Scruffy, and Squad. I'm happy that the Oilers are trading for a defenseman and trying to improve, even though I'm not an Oilers fan." Terry Jones said on Twitter this morning that the Oilers should go out and get the meanest, nastiest jerk of a defenseman that they can find. I guess everybody, that's where we're at now. Trade deadline's Friday. Everybody just saying what every team should get. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Does Terry know that Chris Pronger's retired? Does Terry know that he's retired by any...
Do you ever
I've
really
never
retire?
seen a more negative person in my life than Terry Jones.
But that's not new.
That's true.
It was nice spending time with Steve Simmons here last week when the Leafs were in town, because it's like there's not many of them guys left.
Does Steve go on the road with the Leafs?
No, he lives here in South Florida.
Does he?
Yeah, so it was it was a home game for Steve Simmons of the Toronto Sun. But, well, this is your last appearance of the week, so the floor is yours. As Lynch would say, the last word. What do you got, Scruffy?
Two things. Stanley Cup preview tonight, Tampa Bay at Minnesota. Why that game is starting at 8:30 Saskatchewan time, I have no idea. I'm guessing it has something to do with TNT or ESPN. And somebody at the top of the show said, if I think Stan Bowman's been a disaster, what do I think of Brad Treliving? Well, Brad Treliving destroyed the Calgary Flames with what happened with Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. He then went to Toronto, and he's ruined the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Brad Treliving is 2 for 2. So we'll just finish it at that.
I feel like these are like scruff bombs. You just pull the grenade, pin, bye. See where it lands. Yeah.
Talk to you Monday.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, for sure the Flames are out, and we're just sitting there. They're just picking the dead body. They're roadkill. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
With the trade deadline coming up for the Flames, and the Leafs are going to be that. You're going to say something? I can say.
Nope. I thought you were going to say something. Nope. Go ahead.
Oh well, the Panthers jersey. The Panthers season hinges on tonight's game at New Jersey. If they lose it, they're going to have a fire sale.
Oh, I think they're done already.
Some guys will be gone. It's not a fire sale, but their season hinges on this one tonight in the Swamp. And Jersey Jim is there covering it for us. So we got people everywhere. See you, Mitch. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Okay, well, we're going to mix sports talk with story time. That's why a lot of you have come here. 902-518-3033. It's interesting that Scruffy and I are as good of friends as we are because he's into all sports. He's like the perfect sportscaster. He really is. I'm not into all sports. I'm just not. I follow it all, but I don't sit there and analyze it. Scruffy's great for that. That's why we have him on. I do what I do. He does what he does. I need to focus on just a few things. Okay, so we'll hang on. who's asking, thanks to Herm, who's watching in Saskatoon, Herm Hordell. Sorry, he's watching in Edmonton. He's the former marketing guy for the Saskatoon Blades back in all of our heyday of the 90s. He said the best hockey arena in the world is the Whitney Foreman Flin Flon. I've never been there. I've had opportunities to go. I've declined, and I don't see that changing. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in. He says, my first NHL game was box seats at the Montreal Forum. I got to see Denis Savard, first game there in his rookie season. A lot of votes for the Montreal Forum. Unfortunately, I never made it there. As I said earlier, up until I became the voice of the Riders, I'd never been anywhere. I was Jethro, Beverly Hillbillies. Had never been anywhere. Bill from Brantford, Ontario writes in. He says, Buffalo Memorial Auditorium was my favorite arena to watch hockey. The Odd is going to get some votes, I feel like. We have that heavy Eastern Canada audience, which, by the way, Wayne, all the way out in Victoria, BC, writes in. He says, I assume, Rod, that everything went normally when you went out for supper with that couple from New York. This is how it went. It was the morning of the game, 2005, CFL Eastern semifinal. Saskatchewan Roughriders at Montreal Alouettes. I'm walking down St. Catherine Street looking for a Starbucks. I found one. I want to say it was at the corner of St. Catharines and Crescent Street. I would assume you know the area, producer Corey. I think it was St. Catharines and Crescent. And it was jammed. And there was this couple sitting there. I said, do you mind if I sit down? This is me, right? They're like, have a seat. Was there a Starbucks there? Corner of St. Catharines and Crescent? It's right around there anyway. Okay, yeah. It was a long time ago. It was 21 years ago. So I can't remember his name. It was Richard something. It'll come to me an hour after I get off the air. That's how it always. I remember the wife's name. Her name was Helen Lebrecht. She didn't have the same last name as the doctor. 6-foot blonde. Anyways, we hit it off. And I said, listen, we're here for a football game. And, I'm going to get you a couple of tickets to the game. Nate Davis gave me his tickets because he wasn't using them. Big number 98. And I give them the tickets. And we're calling the game, the Olympic Stadium. And the Alouettes are motorboating the Rough Riders. And their seats are right behind the Rider bench. Cell phones were kind of a new thing then. Helen stands up from behind. She calls me. She's like, hi. I'm up in the booth. She's waving, and my color guy, Carm's like, who's that? That's Helen from New York. I just met her. After the game, they said, we had such a great time at that CFL game. We would love to take you out for dinner tonight. And I'm thinking, well, I'll fly home until tomorrow. What the hell? I got nothing else to do. It was an afternoon football game, so they said, we'll pick you up in the lobby of your hotel at 7. And Richard says, wear a suit. I'm not even sure his name was Richard, but it was something like that. And anyways, I'm in the lobby of the hotel. Scruffy's there, Paul McCallum, Chris Zarka, Jeremy O'Day. And they're like, what are you doing? Why are you in a suit? I said, I just met this couple from New York this morning. They came to our game this afternoon, and then they're going to take me out tonight. And they're like, what? Do you know them? I know them. Yeah. This sounds very unsafe. So they show up. In the process of this, they tell me they have a winter home in Jamaica right next to Mick Jagger's estate and blah, 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 blah. They picked me up, and we went to Casino de Montreal. I had crab cakes. We had supper. See, I'm squirming in my seat here because I don't know how much I can say. Other than Jeff the Stamps fan says they thought you were a gigolo. I don't even know what a gigolo is. The supper went fine. And she said, if you're ever in New York, producer Corey's laughing in my ear. I'd like to say that there was more, but there wasn't any more. We went for dinner. They bought me dinner. And they said, if you're ever in New York, we'd like to see you. And maybe you can come out to our place in I can't remember. This was a long time ago. Some rich area of New York. They have a place. Ironically, this morning, I just booked a trip to New York because the Panthers are there at the end of March for a double shot against the Rangers and the Islanders. Maybe I'll look up Helen and her husband if they're still alive. It was a long time ago. Okay. How the hell did that come up today? Arlen Bruce is watching. He says, great day, RP. March Madness. I hope my Kansas Jayhawks advance to the Final Four. Always love a Cinderella story. Well, I got to delicately dance around that because the poll result for EMJ Marketing, are you going to be into March Madness, is between 80 to 90% say no. I feel like many, many, many of you would rather we sit here and talk hockey, which is fine. Joe Lazito writes in, he says, be careful about those couples from New York, Roddy. They just spent the weekend with me. Joe and the lovely Andrea. By the way, I booked my trip this morning, Joe. I'm coming to New York end of the month. Consider yourself warned. Okay, sports update. There are 11 games in the National Hockey League tonight, including one in Edmonton, where the Oilers, who have lost 4 of their last 5, host the Ottawa Senators, who have won 2 of their last 3. Elsewhere, the Winnipeg Jets will be aiming to halt a 2-game slide when they host the Chicago Blackhawks. The Dallas Stars have been looking to win their club record 10th straight when they visit the Calgary Flames, and the San Jose Sharks will look to win 3 in a row when they host the Montreal Canadiens, who have won 2 of their last 3. By the way, Rich Sutter is with us today, and he'll be with us in hour 2. I should mention we have a brand new partner, another brand new partner on the RP show for presenting the guests, the presenting sponsor for our guests, Prairie Panels. They're a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions, whether it's for agricultural buildings, shop construction, or commercial projects. Prairie Panels brings innovative, durable products backed by local expertise. Check them out at prairiepanels.ca. Again, Rich Sutter next hour. We'll be talking about all of this NHL trade deadline stuff. 4 teams remain unbeaten after 9 draws at the Montana's Brier and St. John's. Team Canada's Brad Jacobs, Brad Gushu of Newfoundland are atop Pool A at 4-0. Alberta's Kevin Cooey and Matty Dunstone of Manitoba lead Pool B at 3-0. The Toronto Blue Jays play an exhibition game against Team Canada today, 2 days ahead of the start of the World Baseball Classic. Canada, which has never reached the knockout stage of the WBC event, is grouped with Colombia, Cuba, Panama, and Puerto Rico. The Canadians open their tourney on Saturday against Colombia in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Yesterday, I asked you if you were going to be into the World Baseball Classic. 58% of you said no, the majority. But I feel like as we get closer to this, I feel like you're going to get into it. And if it helps, Rod Black's kid, the peerless, iconic Canadian broadcaster, Rod Black, the first ever voice of the Toronto Raptors. His son Tyler is on Team Canada, infielder for the Milwaukee Brewers. I feel like you're going to get into it. If you don't, you don't. It's a free country. 10 games in the NBA tonight, including one in Toronto, where the Raptors host the New York Knicks. The Raps are 5th in the East at 35-25. The Knickerbockers are 3rd with 39 wins. The sports update is proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Collectors, listen up. Hockey cards, autographs, fan memorabilia, all at Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't wait. You can shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. So, and I wanted to get into NFL free agency. Breece Hall, franchise tagged by the Jets today. Where is Rich in upstate New York, by the way, to talk about that? It's the perils of this business now, in that I'm reading USA Today's potential landing spots for NFL free agents, and all of a sudden that changes by noon. Just the way that it goes. John Ohm checking in from Winterpeg. He says, you got me convinced to check out this World Baseball, Rod. I mean, we're going to be talking about it here. So, I mean, get on board or don't, but it'll be a lot more fun for you when you see us talking about, as I said, Vladdy's with the Dominican Republican team. Aaron Judge is heading up a USA roster that has 20 All-Stars on it. The entire Blue Jays infield is playing in this World Baseball Classic. Alejandro Kirk is with Team Mexico. We all love the World Cup of Hockey. Four Nations Face-Off was the scaled-down version. It's the baseball version of that. It's pretty damn exciting, actually. And then the final is here in Miami, March 17th. And I thought of going, But to be honest, Joe Lazito's watching here right now. He says, excellent. See you then. I booked the trip to New York. And I just thought, what the hell? You only live once. And it couldn't be better. The Panthers play at the Islanders on the Saturday at 1 and the Rangers Sunday at 1. Fly in Friday night, fly out Sunday night. Don't miss any RP shows. That's why we designed this show that way. So I won't be going to baseball. Is the point. Can't be everywhere. We'll keep this roll. The Hamptons. That's what it is, Bill. You're right. The Hamptons. She said, if you're ever in New York, we'll bring you to our place at the Hamptons. I guess I'm going to the Hamptons. And hanging out with you, Joe, with that Canadian-themed sports bar you told me about. I haven't forgot. I get in at 7:30 on the Friday night. Rich Sutter joining us next hour. What's your favorite hockey arena on the globe? That's the question today. We'll be back and take it across Nevada right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Hello, Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Welcoming viewers in across the wonderful state of Nevada. Tuned in on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. And, of course, hello again to viewers on the Game Plus Television Network as we roll into Hour 2. It is the RP Show. I'm going to tell you we have some exciting news today. We have breaking news today. We've got wild stories. We've got a new sponsor. The RP Show proud to welcome Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel as the official travel partner of the RP Show. Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show, and they are going to be the presenting. Prairie Panhandles is the guest sponsor, and Rich Sutter is our guest coming up in the very next segment. So, Joe 747 Gunnis has been very busy in the business end of the RP Show here today. But Rich Sutter's coming up. The breaking news we have comes from the National Football League today. The New York Jets placed the franchise tag on running back Breece Hall, while several other teams decide whether to use the tag on potential free agents before Tuesday's deadline. A source said the Jets placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on Breece Hall today, guaranteeing him a one-year contract worth about $14.3 million. Sportsnet New York first reported the decision. Hall is the third player to get the tag this offseason, with Dallas receiver George Pickens and Atlanta tight end Kyle Pitts getting them well before the deadline. Now, speaking of New York, for those that just joined us here on the program today, whether it's the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network or maybe you just joined us on Game Plus, you're getting in a little late. Sometimes I wonder why we even have a road map, because we just go off-roading sometimes. So, okay, well, in order, a topic came up today that was unscheduled. It is, what's the greatest hockey arena on the globe? And I know a lot of our U.S. viewers love this show because we talk so much hockey. They don't get it in the States, and the Canadian viewers love it because that's their number one sport. And my longtime friend Herm Hordell from Edmonton texted in. He says it's the Whitney Forum in Flin Flon. I've never been there. I've heard great things. I'll take your word for it. I would say leading the poll right now, and this might actually make a great poll question, what is the greatest arena? But how would you even whittle it down to 3 or 4 options? But the Montreal Forum is getting a lot of votes. But by the time I was going to Montreal, traveling on the road, the Forum was gone. I'm not that old. And the story came up of the 2005 Canadian Football League Eastern semifinal. My Saskatchewan Roughriders crossed over to play the Montreal Alouettes. I met a nice couple from New York the morning of the game at a Starbucks in downtown Montreal, and it popped into my mind, everybody, in the break. Richard Colburn. Look it up. He'll vouch for this. Richard Colburn. Sat at his table at a Starbucks, had his wife with him, and he says, I'm New York's preeminent plastic surgeon. Meet my wife, Helen. And I looked, and I'm like, I see what's going on here. And we became fast friends, and I got him tickets to our football game in the afternoon, and then they asked me to go out for supper as a repayment that night, and the football players thought I was crazy. I just met them. The guys are like, what are you doing? Going out with this? You just met them. Scruffy last hour Scruffy was there on that road trip because you're going to end up in a bathtub without kidneys. That didn't happen. We went to the Casino de Montreal. I had crab cakes. We had a lovely time. And they said, if you're ever in New York, we'd love to show you out, bring you to our place in the Hamptons. And I just booked a trip to New York this morning, so maybe that'll happen. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says, I'll bet you, Rod, that couple is now retired, divorced, and both living in Florida close to you. I know what I'm doing after the show today. Oh, and on the topic of what's the best hockey arena on the globe, there won't be a lot of votes for this, but Rob from Windthorst writes in and says, favorite arena was the old Gila River Arena in Glendale. Saw lots of Coyotes games there. I'll tell you something. I was talking to Jeff Chikrin about that not that long ago. His son Jacob now stars with the Washington Capitals. He's leading the NHL in goals scored by a defenseman, but he was there for like 8 years with the Coyotes, and we were talking about how great that arena was in Glendale, Arizona, and it's sitting there empty right now. A squabble with the owner of the Coyotes landed them out of that arena, playing in a college barn in Tempe. What a gong show. But, folks, if you never went to the Gila River Arena in Glendale, you're missing out. So, hey, I never got to the Forum in Montreal, but I did get to the Gila River Arena. And God hope that they go back there one day. But if they do, the NHL, they're not going to be playing in that rink. Oh, Joe Lazito writes in. He says, Rod Pedersen stars in Indecent Proposal, Canada. It was all very above board. Get your mind out of the gutter. Everybody. I'm not some prairie rube. Actually, I am, but I can figure that out. Namaste. The light in them recognized the light in me, and we had a nice time. Joe Lazito writes in. He says, my favorite pro rink was obviously the Nassau Coliseum. My favorite junior rink is the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. Well, hey, Rich in Edmonton watching says, I certainly miss the prices of the old Northlands Coliseum. Oh, yeah, it certainly it's got crazy. I haven't even started the Quick Six show topics here yet. I would not even started the Quick Six show topics. But I'll tell you right now, because as we welcome Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel as the official travel partner of the RP show, they're going to be bringing you the Quick Six show topics every day. Whether it's team travel, sports getaways, business trips, or bucket list vacations, Neil and the team at Uniglobe Carefree Travel deliver expert planning, seamless service, and trusted experience every step of the way. For instance, I'm going to New York. Do like me. Planning your next trip? Connect with Neil. UniglobeCarefreeTravel.com. I was talking, Joe Lazito, this will affect you. I was talking with my coach, my advisor, Lisa, this morning, and I said, I really want to go to New York. And I thought to myself, for this specific Panthers road trip, and I'm like, if money wasn't an issue, would you go? I'm like, absolutely. Then go. So I'm coming to New York, start spreading the news. Okay. Point one, Matvei Mishkov and Trevor Zegras scored in a shootout, and Philadelphia extended their winning streak to 3 games with a 3-2 win over Toronto. That was the game that I watched the most of last night. I feel like it was on Amazon Prime, but they all run together for me. Another loss for the Leafs. The upset of the night in my picks were bad. 3 of 6. Devon Taves scored the tie-breaking goal late in the third. Martin Nekes added an empty netter to go with 2 assists. And Colorado defeated LA 4-2. Somewhere Jim Hiller laughs. It was the debut of DJ Smith on the bench of the LA Kings, and they just happened to be playing the number 1 team in the NHL, but it didn't matter. They didn't get a dead cat bounce with the coaching change. Colorado went into LA and won 4-2, but that wasn't even the news of the day. I was happy to have Scruffy on last hour because he's the resident Oilers guy. And the Edmonton Oilers added a veteran defenseman in a trade with Chicago, Connor Murphy, joining the Oilers in exchange for a second-round draft pick in 2028. Blackhawks will retain half of his $4.4 million salary this season. It's funny because I feel like these guys should know better, but I was listening to NHL radio this morning, and they called it a minor trade. Minor for who? Certainly not for the Murphy family. That's Larry Murphy's kid, right? You know, speaking of the Coyotes, he was a Coyote, I believe. I watched him. There's an outstanding defenseman. Should be a major help for the Edmonton Oilers Stanley Cup aspirations, I would think. And a second-round pick the other way, here's hoping it's a trade that works out for both. And I should mention that Rich Sutter is coming up in the next segment, and we'll be talking about all NHL things, trade deadline, what he's hearing, what he sees, what teams need. That's coming up. And our guest sponsor, brought to you by our brand new partner, Prairie Panels. They're a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineering building solutions. Whether it's for agricultural buildings, shop construction, or commercial products, Prairie Panels brings innovative, durable products backed by local expertise. Check them out at prairiepanels.ca. Big thanks to Prairie Panels for supporting the RP show and helping bring you great guests and great conversation every day. 2, baseball. Point 2, World Baseball Classic. 20 countries are set to compete in the 2026 World Baseball Classic, which begins Wednesday. Those 20 rosters collectively include 78 MLB All-Stars, with 36 being named to the All-Star team last year. Listen, if you're not into it, I get it. To be honest, they're playing games here in South Florida, and wasn't even really aware. Now, it was a couple of weeks ago that our regular viewer, Fake Gainer, wrote in and asked if I was going to be going to any games. I'm like, I didn't even know that it was on. Vintage Sasko, he likes to go by now. Wrote us on the Western Dodge text line at 902-518-3033. I looked at the qualifying games. It was Nicaragua. I don't even want to say Venezuela. I'm like, I don't know any of these guys. I'm not paying money for this. But the final is here, March 17th. And so the poll question yesterday was, are you going to be into the World Baseball Classic? 58% of you say no, but I feel like we're going to change your mind on that. And for Team Canada, I know the U.S. viewers, this will mean nothing to you, but to the Canadian viewers, it will. Rod Black, the iconic Canadian broadcaster, the first voice of the Raptors, longtime CFL broadcaster. His son, Tyler, is an infielder for the Brewers. He's on Team Canada. Ernie Witt is the coach. They're not favored. The USA is, led by Aaron Judge, and the USA's first game is Friday night in Houston. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Now, but rolling along, we're brought to you in part on the RP Show by Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. We craft bold strategies, sharp leadership training, and content that makes people lean in and listen. Today's poll question has to do with college hoops. Jaden Bradley scored 17 points last night, and number 2 Arizona clinched the outright Big 12 regular season title with a 73-57 win over number 6 Iowa State. The Wildcats secured at least a share of the conference crown by using big runs in each half to beat number 14 Kansas 84-61 on Saturday. Now, you're not going to get me fooled. I get that some of our viewers are into this big time. So I'll allow it. March Madness officially, I believe it's beginning the first day, same day as the WBC final, March 17th. That's today's poll question for EMJ Marketing Elite Keynote Speakers Bureau. Are you going to be into March Madness? Keeping in mind that 58% of viewers yesterday said they won't be into the World Baseball Classic. Between 80 and 90% are saying no, they're not going to be into March Madness. So we'll see. I voted yes because I sit here every day, and to be honest, I want to sit here and talk about what's going on, no matter the sport. And again, Rich Sutter coming up in the next segment. We'll be talking about NHL trade deadline on Friday and all the things that are going on in the National Hockey League. And I'll get to the picks tonight. There are 11 games. Trevor Harris has checked in, our buddy from WQAM Miami. Where is it? He says, what up, Rod? Great NHL slate tonight, right? And we're going to get to that as we work our way through the quick 6 show topics here. For those that are joining us late, again, you can also vote extemporaneously on the Western Dodge text line. Not on the, well, you can vote on the whether you're into March Madness or not, but I feel like the far more interesting topic is what's the greatest hockey arena on the planet. Trevor, you might be interested in that. We're getting a lot of interesting votes. I would suggest the informal poll is being led right now by the Montreal Forum, but we have some write-in ballots for Gila River Arena, Gila River Casino Arena in Glendale. Sorry, producer Corey was talking here. He says the Gallagher Center in Yorkton he's a big fan of. I've been there. Don't even get me started on that. I got in so much trouble, as usual, not planning to. Jarrett Stoll brings the Stanley Cup to Yorkton, 2012. And he calls me and he says, got a Stanley Cup parade in Yorkton, Roddy. Would you mind coming up doing your show from Yorkton? And I'm like, I would love to. So we go up and we're in the parade. I call the local Mercedes dealership. Shout out Terry Leach. And we're in the parade. We got the Stanley Cup in the back seat. I got my buddy Duke with me, the Duke of Mydale. And the parade culminates with Jarrett Stoll like Santa Claus on the end of a fire engine holding the Stanley Cup. It was so great. And then we go to the Gallagher Center where there was a big party, a great time was had by all. They were drinking out of cowboy boots. I wasn't, but I know people that were. And then I get called in on the Monday as usual. Oh, you didn't call the local radio station and asked if it was okay to come in and do your show there. I said, why would I? What? What's that? Catching hell for that. I'm pretty sure Stoley didn't care. But the local radio station was mad that the my show, which wasn't this show, it was my old one, rolled in there and did the show. I guess I was supposed to ask for permission. Oops. Arlen writes in, Arlen Bruce III says, RP, here are my picks for tonight's NHL games. Penguins, Vegas, Columbus, Utah, Florida, Oilers. He says, my new getaway is the NHL. Oh, it's really awesome. And we're going to talk a lot about it next with Rich Sutter and our picks coming up later on in the show. You're watching the RP show across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. And, of course, as always, across Canada and 33 U.S. states here on the Game Plus TV network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
And we're back, and the RP Show is brought to you in part by Vegas.com. Save 50% or more on the best Vegas shows this week, like Piano Man, a tribute show to Elton John and Billy Joel. Also, Zombie Burlesque and The Vegas Show. Get your tickets today at Vegas.com. All right, Rich Sutter joins us from Hockey's First Family. Richie, before we delve into trade deadline stuff, the viewers are debating today the greatest hockey arena on the globe. I don't want to put you on the spot, but what comes to mind when you get asked that? Yeah. Anywhere that you've played in. Yeah.
Well, I really like the old Global Arena in Stockholm from the Europe side. NHL, well, I would say there's some great old ones, original 6 ones. Obviously, MSG is the most popular one in the world, but in New York City. But I would say the old Boston Garden, the old Chicago Stadium, the odd in Buffalo. The reason why I say those places because they were great places to go play because of the atmosphere and how competitive those teams were. I will honestly say that some of the teams I played on weren't so greatly competitive. When you go into those buildings, and that was the best thing I loved about it, was because there was nowhere to hide. And you knew that it was going to be hit or be hit. And that it was very obvious when the old clock struck down at 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute before you headed out onto the ice for the game and for each of the periods, that who was ready to go in your locker room, who had their skates tied up, who had their jerseys tied down. It was obviously who wasn't. And it was obviously who was. And that's what I loved about it, because you knew that at some point in the night in a lot of those rinks there was going to be a little rodeo, and that was the best part I loved about it.
13-year NHL veteran Rich Sutter with us, and you're right, you played in all those great barns, plus a little bit in the new ones too. So with the trade deadline coming up, we got some moves out of the way. Artemi Panarin, Quinn Hughes, they're calling Connor Murphy a minor deal, but it might not be minor to the Oilers, and it certainly isn't to him. What do you see happening between now and this Friday?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of, obviously, I think as every game got played here since the return of to the season, that every game, Rod, had implications for each team. And as each team moves into games 3, 4, and 5 here, it's kind of like you're crossing yourself off the board. Who believes they're still real and who believes that they're no longer real. So I think there's probably a lot of teams, that, especially the active gyms, that have done their homework ahead of time, going plan A if we're still in it, plan B if we are still believer in it, plan C if we don't believe we're not in it anymore. So there's got to be a lot of scenarios and basically plans in place, and the smart gyms and the effective ones and the ones that are doing their diligence are doing that with their staffs. And you know that there's probably a portion that have done that and a portion that probably not. So that's the way this world works, especially in our league. And so it'll be very interesting. Edmonton did a little bit of homework yesterday. I don't know if that really moves the needle. Obviously, he said it's a very important thing when it comes to personal lives being effective in Connor's life. And by the way, Rod, Connor's dad is Gord, not Larry.
Thank you. Okay.
But that's okay. But anyways, it's a move for Chicago. They believe that it was time to move on, that they didn't think probably they were going to get him back to come July 1. And it's a move for Edmonton to see what they got. Look, his minutes were down substantially this year compared to the last couple of seasons. There's a major reason for that obviously I don't know no one to really talk about. So if you think he's still a top 4 guy, I think you're grasping to think he's still a top 4 guy, because he was going to be a top 4 guy. His minutes are going to have to come right back up. I don't know if that moves the needle enough for Edmonton. Obviously, I think it does by giving up a second-round pick, which I thought was massive. But getting Chicago to retain some salary probably helped with that pick. So there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams looking to move some guys. There's a lot of UFAs that teams are going to want to probably hang on to because they feel they're still in it. I can think of 2 or 3 teams that have very valuable UFAs that are big parts of their clubs that if they're not getting those guys signed now, they're going to hopefully get them signed down the road, whether it's before the season ends or before July 1. But it's obvious some teams are going to go ahead with some things that are going to blow some people out of the water in terms of, wow, they made that deal. There's some teams I really hope they don't move some guys, because for them to be able to get back into the lot, get back into contention, to get back into where they feel they are the group to be talked about come playoff time. I'm a little bit concerned about why some teams would move some of those guys, because if you lose them, what are you getting back to pick to fill those spots?
Wonderful assessment. And there's an avalanche of viewer questions have come in for you. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. I want your read on some situations. I assume you listened to NHL radio.
Yes.
This morning. They were saying, why would you fire Jim Hiller coming out of the Olympic break? If you knew you were going to fire him, why wouldn't you fire him before the Olympic break? And I was thinking they might have thought, Ken Holland might have thought, let's see how we do after a break and how we do with Panarin. And they come back and nothing's changed. And that's why they made the move. But that's what I see. What do you see out of L.A.?
I think there's a lot of people agreeing the same thing. Why now? Have they still got a chance? Wow. I mean, I don't know if they really do or not, quite frankly. I don't see a difference in that team improving their offense. Their goaltending has been suspect here lately. They've lost Fiala. Yes, they gained Panarin, but they needed Panarin and Fiala, and they're still not scoring goals. So I think there's a lot of people wondering why that choice or decision was made at this point. Mind you, DJ went on record saying that he's going to get this team in the playoffs, and quite frankly, I hope they kind of find a way to at least make it very interesting. So yeah, that's where I read LA at this point.
A fun one. Joe Lazzato is watching on Long Island. He says, where does Rich's former home rink, the Philadelphia Spectrum, land on your list of the best barns?
One of them as well, Joe. I guess I should have included that in the group of the other 4 or 5. But yeah, look, all those older buildings, like even the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, like those rinks, these were not easy rinks to go in and play. There was a lot of guys that didn't really want to get on the bus to go to the rink from the hotel to go into some of these rinks, or I guess Long Island walk across the parking lot. So I think for some guys, it might have been a long walk with a lot of doubt in their minds, especially when the Islanders were in their heyday.
Okay, Leafs. Ooh. What should they do?
Well, they've got to try and get something for their UFAs. I would love to see them try and sign McMahon. I think he's a legit hockey player. Do I believe he's a top 6? Maybe in a pinch, playing for a few games with the right guys, but I think he's your perfect third line guy that can contribute, play both sides of the puck, play big, play heavy, play fast, which is his big weapon in his game. I would think that if they can't think they can really get something done with him, they're going to have to try and get something for him. Same thing with Scotty Lawton. I mean, both these guys have expressed they want to remain Maple Leafs, but how do you do that without signing them before Friday? So, and there's other guys. There's some guys in the back end as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Brad's going to do. There's a lot of guys. There's got to be a lot of balls in the air for him right now.
Jeff in Toronto writes in, he says, fire sale and start again. But I feel like he's a Sabres fan. He just happens to live in Toronto. And I saw Buffalo here Friday. Your son, Lucas, is still working for the Sabres, is he not?
Correct.
Yeah, they came through here the other night, and I was like, wow. And Tage Thompson, Richie, you know all this, but I saw it firsthand for the first time. When he really tries, oh, my God, what a player. How do you explain what's happened there since firing Kevin Adams?
Well, I think they started to turn the corner actually really a little bit. They were down and out. They were last in the Eastern Conference when they went into Edmonton in late December or part of December. They won a big game. They fell behind. They came back and won it. Edmonton tied it in the last second of the game, but still Tuck won it in overtime. But That seemed to be the turning point where they believed they could start to do some things. And I think it was a matter of some guys just had to get a little bit mad, not about their own selves, but at each other about let's not stop or let's not continue to piss some of these things away. There's a good group here. They've drafted very well. They've developed. There are guys there that are not even on that roster, I believe, are knocking on the door to be good NHL players. They have depth there, Rod, that they could use to probably make some moves. Yarmo is smart enough to be very careful because the group has shown him what they're capable of doing. Does he tinker and add to it? I think he will. At least there will be serious discussions. Look, he went through a situation like this in Columbus when I was with him, with the Panarin situation, where you want to compare that to Tuck. We kept Bob, and we kept Panarin around, believing we could win at least a couple rounds or at least get into the second round, which we did, knowing full well that there was a chance we were going to lose those guys come July, which happened. There's no doubt that Yarmo's not thinking of that, but obviously he realizes that. But I think this is a much different situation with this group in Buffalo than it was in Columbus, where I think there's way more talent. There's way more talent coming. Tuck is a Western New York guy. It's going to come down to, do you want to do what's best and what's right, not only for your organization, but also to your degree, it comes down to how much is too much in terms of what you're asking and how does it make it work for your club. I think this team making the playoffs and maybe doing some noise, which I believe they certainly can, will make a big decision and weigh on Alex Tuck's mind about whether or not he stays come July 1.
13-year NHL veteran Rich Sutter is with us. Vegas at Buffalo tonight. Jack Eichel's return. There's some little bit of consternation as to how that's going to go with the fans. But your thoughts on the Golden Knights? I just feel like everybody's so surprised. Like Bill Lindsay was on this show last week. He's like, how are they always a cup contender? KM, Kelly McCrimmon, that's how. Not only are they going to do something, Rich, at the deadline, I'm sure, but it's pulling a rabbit out of a hat variety is what McCrimmon does. Do you see that coming before Friday?
I don't know. For the first time in probably 5 or 6 years, I don't know what they're thinking or what they're going to be trying to pull off because, look, they're trying to get over an Olympic hangover right now. That's a given. There was a lot of guys off that team that played and went over there that didn't get a rest. I think you saw that definitely in their play in their first 3 or 4 games coming out of the break here, and Bruce Cassidy alluded to that as well yesterday. So Buffalo will have their hands full tonight, but look, this is another game on the schedule for the Sabres that kind of will tell you something about their hockey club. Vegas is reeling a little bit. Mark Stone is probably going to be a game time decision, if at all, tonight. And they've been on their heels a little bit here lately. So it'll be interesting to see how Buffalo plays tonight. I think I would look to see Buffalo to come out and play well and hopefully get a win.
$66,000 question here. How do you feel about the way the Flames are going about things? And do you think they should have been better this year? Or was last year an aberration, a mirage?
I believe last year definitely was, Rod. And that's no disrespect to anyone there. Look, Craig Conroy's done a hell of a job. He's going to stay the course. He's going to be patient, like he's shown in previous deals, to do what's right by and for his club. Are there guys there that can be moved? For sure. Coleman, Kadri, perhaps maybe White Cloud if the price is right. But there are guys there that can certainly help other teams. Connie will show his patience. I'm sure he's got all kinds of Post-it notes on his desk knowing exactly what's in front of him and who's been offered for what. And what their wants and needs are. And none of that is the timing right? Is it now or is it in the summertime? Kadri's made no bones about, yes, possibly moving on to the right place, to a contender. but he's done the right thing by being a really good soldier through all this as well too, doing what's right for the team and being a good guy for the younger guys around the locker room. So I do see the Flames at least trying to do something, whether or not the timing is now or it is before the draft.
From the viewer named WHL 1986. That's his account. WHL 1986. He's watching on YouTube. He says, Dreger and the TSN crew are reporting that Bill Zito has aggressively been trying to move Bobrovsky, but teams are shying away in the pursuit of younger, cheaper options. I don't know if that's true or not. Jeff Rimmer and I, you know Rimbo well, put our heads together and agreed Bob doesn't want to leave. Doesn't mean he won't be traded. But what's your read on that situation?
Well, that's exactly what you just said. He probably does want to leave. Are they resigning to the fact that this is not an opportunity? They still don't think they could come back and make the playoffs. I think they got to be getting darn close to that. I think if Billy's going to do something, he's going to send him only to a place where he's got a legitimate chance to win. Could there be something in the top right drawer of Billy's desk saying that this is waiting for you to come back if you want to have a conversation when the season is over? Look, teams do that. We all know that. Billy's smart. He's surrounded by smart people. He'll do what's right for the organization moving forward. Look, Bob was 37?
Yep.
So you got to do what's right for the organization moving forward. This is a team that, look, I call it a one-off. 3 long seasons to the Stanley Cup Finals in a row has been wearing and taxing on this group. The unfortunate injury to Barkov in training camp just seemed to set the tone for how the whole year was going to go. I don't care who's in net next year for the Florida Panthers. I love their organization. I'm a fan of their organization. I believe this is a one-off. In a lot of ways, it could give this team a real chance to resume a good summer of rest, rehab, and get themselves back where they need to be. They're a good hockey club. I expect them to be right back in the very heart of everything. If we were talking a year out from now, I'd be looking at a 9 to 100% different looking conversation about this hockey club.
Of course. They missed Barkov all year and Tkachuk for half the year. That's a pretty big pair to bring out of their lineup, you know. Steven Stamkos, we're running out of time here, but Steven Stamkos, you see him going somewhere, and can he still be effective?
Well, he's been very effective the last 3 months, for sure, in Nashville. I think it's going to take an awful lot for Stammer to go somewhere else. Look, Nashville has got some issues like a lot of teams do. But again, you know, you tweak some things over the summertime with 2 or 3 roster changes and just some different mindsets and players coming back healthy and readjusting their games. They're no different than a lot of teams. They're stuck in the middle right now, Rod. But they're also that close to being someone to talk about too. So
just going to cut you off,
that.
Richie.
He loves it, and he wants to be.
I apologize. Sorry, Rich, we're out of time. We got to let you go. There we go. Sorry, Rich. A wonderful chat. Goes fast as always. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
It's your daily reminder to sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter. It's free, and you can do so at rodpedersen.com. It drops every Sunday. Brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. It's warming up out there. Get a wash that lasts. We will do our NHL game picks in the next segment, okay? Overtime. Things are really filling up. Let's do a sports update right now. Team USA is playing the San Francisco Giants today in Scottsdale, Arizona, ahead of the World Baseball Classic. The Americans will play one more warm-up game versus the Rockies before flying to Houston for the first round of the World Baseball Classic. Team Canada is playing the Blue Jays today in Dunedin, and Canada's first game of the World Baseball Classic is on Saturday. 58% of you people said you weren't going to be following the World Baseball Classic, and I think you just weren't ready for what's coming your way. It's going to be fun. Yahoo.com's latest NFL mock draft has 4 Ohio State players going in the top 10. Arvell Reese at number 2 to the Jets. Sonny Styles at number 3 to the Cardinals. Carnell Tate at number 8 to the Saints. And Caleb Downs at number 10 to the Bengals. Speaking of the National Football League, there was breaking news, came down on this Tuesday. Let me get to it here. It's at the very top of my page. The New York Jets placed the franchise tag on running back Breece Hall this morning, while several other teams decide whether to use the tag on potential free agents before next Tuesday's deadline. A person familiar with the decision said the Jets placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on Hall, guaranteeing him a one-year contract worth about today's the deadline, $14.3 million. Sportsnet New York was the first to report the decision. Hall is the third player to get the tag this offseason, with Dallas receiver George Pickens and Atlanta tight end Kyle Pitts getting them well before the deadline. UConn women's basketball team won its 47th straight game Sunday, tied for the 5th longest streak in D1 history. to complete the 11th undefeated regular season in program history and first in 8 years. Huskies are beating teams by an average of 37.8 points per game. And our poll question today is, are you going to be into March Madness? Between 80 to 90% of you saying no. But we'll be following it and watching it. There's no doubt. Our poll question is brought to you by EMJ Marketing Elite Keynote Speakers Bureau. Check out their roster at emjmarketing.com. NBC will turn back the clock 30 years for tonight's Spurs 76ers game on NBC, recreating a 1995-96 NBA broadcast straight down to the announcers, graphics, pregame show, and score bug. Bob Costas, Doug Collins, and Mike Fratello will call the game from the booth, with Jim Gray serving as sideline reporter. I want to know, where's Marv Albert? The one who called Mike Fratello the czar of the telestrator. It don't matter. Costas is calling the game tonight on NBC for the Spurs 76ers. I love that they're doing it. Dusting off the old guys. The sports update is brought to you by our friends at Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. Your team, your colors, your gear. Get it all at Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store, online at ultimatefanzone.ca. That, frankly, is where I get all my Golden Knights stuff. As I said, the NHL picks will come up in the next segment. Speaking of old guys, not you, Wayne, but Wayne in Victoria writes in, and he says, I absolutely love your stories about your time as the Riders play-by-play guy. It's crazy, all the rules you had to follow. It was no different than any other team in my mind. But I do have a working title for my book, Wayne. I've actually got a couple. But there will be memoirs. The reason I haven't written them yet was I'm only at halftime. Who writes a book at halftime? The game ain't over. The game's only at halftime. But there was, I had two titles. One was I'll Take It From Here. And I had another one I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been pecking away at that. But I feel like I should maybe just write a book on the Rider stories, period. Just get that away, and then I'll do a second book once, however this all ends. Yeah. Wayne goes on to say, I was recently realizing that the RP show has been on the air for almost 8 years. It seems like yesterday when you start. I've been doing it for almost exactly as long as my last show. How about that? 1,688 episodes as of today. NHL picks coming up in overtime, including viewer takeover for the final time today. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and across Canada and 33 U.S. states on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. I feel like it's one of those days that we could go an additional hour, but we won't. So we'll try to get through this fast to cover a lot of topics, here in Overtime for Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where if you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot, look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. They now have specialized shooting, training, and instruction. Don't get left behind, okay? Your competition's out there learning how to do it. You should probably pick it up. Check them out at 28th Street, Northeast Calgary, and follow their social media channels for more information at Overtime HL on, the website's that, overtimehl.ca. You can find Overtime on Instagram and Facebook. I love the topic today. What's the greatest hockey arena on the globe? You know that there is no right answer to that. Tony in Cochrane. Where you been all day, Tony? He writes in, he says, what about the old Chicago Stadium, Rich? That was meant for Rich. The Madhouse on Madison. Jeff and Stamps fan says, Rod, everyone in Sobeys wants to know what I'm watching as I shop. I told them. The RP show, 10 a.m. to noon, weekdays, YouTube. Thank you. I appreciate that help in Calgary. For me, the arena is the Regina Agrodome. I've seen 3 Memorial Cups there, 1980, 2001, 2018. I saw Kiss there, Motley Crue, the Backstreet Boys, Jerry Seinfeld, Shania Twain, called thousands of games there. As Ken Stromberg said, the penalty box attendant, he says, you grew up here. Yes, I did. Hurt to leave, but things happen. That's life. My greatest rink on the globe is the Regina Agro. Beyond that, I'd have to think a little bit. I'm kind of partial to American Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida. We'll come back on all of this stuff, but the NHL picks brought to you by our friends at Pump Jacks Steakhouse and Saloon. If we're picking games, it's brought to you by Pump Jacks. Go check them out. Come early, stay late at the place where your friends meet. Pittsburgh at Boston tonight. Hell of a game. Who's in goal for the Bruins? Feel like I'm going to take... This is a toughie. I'll take Pittsburgh. Utah at Washington. Definitely the Capitals. Florida at New Jersey. The Panthers' season hinges on this one tonight, and I think they'll win. I got Florida to win. Nashville at Columbus. It's the Jackets for me. Big extra time win for them at MSG last night. Vegas at Buffalo. That's the game of the night. Jack Eichel's return. I'll go with the Golden Knights in this one. Don't let me down, Golden. I feel like most nights I pick them and they lose and let me down. Chicago at Winnipeg. I'll take the Jets. Ottawa at Edmonton. Definitely the Oilers. Connor Murphy's debut. Dallas Stars at Calgary. The Stars trying to extend their winning streak to 10. I think they'll do it. Tampa Bay at Minnesota. Scruffy says the Stanley Cup final preview. I'm thinking the Wild. This one will probably come down to goaltending. I'm going to take Tampa Bay. Call me a homer if you want. You wouldn't be the first. Montreal at San Jose. The Young Stars game. I'll take the Sharks. Not that confident in it, though. And Colorado, Anaheim, the Ducks have won, I think, 5 in a row. Colorado coming off the big win in LA last night, which I think is an upset to everybody but the Avs, given the factors going into the game. I'm going to go with the Ducks. Quack, quack. Those are our picks. Do not take those to the betting window, okay? Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, I saw the Harlem Globetrotters at the Agrodome and many Pats games. I saw the Harlem Globetrotters there too. I saw everything at the Agrodome. That's my place. Alan writes in, he says, do you think the Vancouver Canucks will be a better team next season because they get that number 1 draft pick? Well, number 1, they don't have it yet. So don't. Hang on. For their sake, I sure hope so. But I'll tell you something. I don't want any feelings to get hurt here. But one player can't change a culture. The Vancouver Canucks have gone through a rotating carousel of coaches and star players, and nothing's changed over the last 15 years. So Gavin McKenna, should the balls fall that way, would help, but I don't think it's going to change what happens in Vancouver. And I hate to say it about Calgary, but look at what Matthew Tkachuk's done. If there was ever a winner, I know people hate him. He wins. Couldn't win in Calgary. He's one guy, and he wasn't even anywhere close to a number 1 overall pick. So will Vancouver be better? They couldn't be much worse, bro. But I think we've all thrown dirt on the grave of the Vancouver Canucks. We know they're dead and gone. I'm not even worried about them anymore. It's the Leafs. I don't get it. Came through here last week, saw them play Thursday night at Sunrise. I never seen a more lifeless bunch since Vancouver came to town back in October. But this is the Leafs, man. I expected it out of Vancouver. Joseph Wall that night looked like he wanted to be anywhere else in the world but in the crease of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, they were marginally more inspired last night. They were at home, but the rink was a tomb, and they lost again in extra time to Philadelphia. So, anyways, I appreciate the question, Alan, but will they be better? Yeah. Will Gavin McKenna turn them into a contender? Not next season. It's going to take a hell of a lot more than him, and they haven't even won the lottery anyways. As we say, Blue Jays taking on Canada today in spring training baseball, getting ready for the World Baseball Classic. Team USA taking on the Giants in Arizona. Trying to get you excited for that. 10 in the NBA as well. All our teams are in the action. The Raptors home to New York. Miami Heat welcoming Brooklyn. I won't be there. And Phoenix at Sacramento. As I've learned, the Suns are Vegas's NBA team until they get one. Whatever team they get, we'll put the logo up here. Tomorrow, what do we got? AJ Jakovic and just me. So get ready for that. Get your questions and comments ready for hour 1 as I go solo, Larry King style. Sheila in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You're on the air. Hello. That's coming your way tomorrow here on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and, of course, Game Plus TV.
That.